what it is.
What's up? Did it say
Got your...
Oh my God.
That's a new intro.
Got your person in the cards.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sinesipo. And
I am Misho.
And today on the Sisterhood of the Traveling Goer, we actually have a special guest who is Kabelo. Well, I call her Kabi. It feels so weird to say Kabelo.
I know no one says my full name ever. There's a long list of AKAs, one of which is banned. KB is banned.
Why is KB banned?
Wow. It's just
because
awful.
KB is
It's
like a
just boring.
fuckboy.
Yeah,
but also it's like I hear
option.
fuckboy.
Yeah.
Is it?
When I hear KB.
I've never
Yeah.
even met a KB. It just sucks.
You've
Man.
never met a KB?
I don't think so. Oh no, I have.
Yeah.
And yes, fuckboy. Actually,
Exactly.
Fuckboy.
Maybe we need to associate with KB the musician. She's great.
Yeah,
And the actress.
I
at
love
least.
her.
But I think that KB is not spelled like KB.
How's this?
It's spelled differently to
It's spelled
KB.
different. I'm not sure.
You see, it's 5
Spells
seconds
it out.
in.
But-
Let me see.
That's a lot.
But
Yes, it's KB.
K.
K-A-Y.
Yeah, like it's spelled different. It's
I
not
had no
like K.
idea.
It's not just a KB.
I always called her KB.
Me too.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
for the
Yeah,
surname.
yeah. So she's
The
like
surname.
KB. Oh no, she's also KB. I lied.
Oh, okay.
First lie of the day.
Okay.
It's disappointing.
She
It's
so
like
says.
it's 7 minutes past 5, and I'm on my first lie.
Wow.
How many are you on?
Yeah, guys.
0. Why are you guys like? What's going on?
The way today went at work. I'm
3,
sitting on
4.
3 around there. Yeah.
No, I have this new thing. Nikki introduced me to it.
Mm.
She was like, she just lies to people in like the Lyft or like the Uber
wow.
driver,
To make
and it's
life
just like
interesting.
to get the lies out of your system.
Oh, so you don't lie for bigger things?
Yes.
Oh, I like that. I like that. You probably should move your mic a little bit closer
But
so
yeah,
we can hear you
we be-
better.
We be on that.
I'm
Closer
new
to
here.
you.
I don't know.
That's not the mic is like, sister, I want to stand here.
Oh, hi. You're very close.
And then
But
did you guys see the lady with the 702 mic?
yes,
Oh, yes,
I love
she's
her.
having a
You're
ball.
doing amazing.
You're doing amazing,
Like,
babe.
she's having a ball.
I feel the
Shout
power
out.
of this mic. Now imagine if it was branded. That's I see what it's
You can
doing.
you can do that Christmas presents.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
today we're actually speaking about an interesting topic with Gabi, who is a friend of ours and a friend of the pod.
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to introduce the topic, Misho, or should I give Gabi the pleasure?
Actually,
Put her on the spot.
let's let Gabi,
Okay, let's
because
see
she
if I
had a
can.
passion for it. We all have a passion for it.
But she has
by the
a
way.
patience.
I have a passion. I have a problem. I'm working through it. But anyways, so the topic came about in a really quick, actually, like funny conversation where I don't even know what we were doing. We were at, can I say where we were?
Yeah.
We were at Decorex, and
Yes,
for some reason we were talking about, somebody mentioned overextending. And all three of us were like, oh,
triggered.
Tell me about it, you know? And I think, I mean, you can overextend, it covers a bunch of like sort of areas of life. I think for me, it shows up primarily in like my relationships with people.
Yeah.
But I'm also noticing how it creeps up at work. Like it's something that I talk a lot about in therapy. I think it's something that starts at home, how you're conditioned, how you're raised, who your behavior is modeled after, you know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then it just fucking blows up and jiggy, you're
Listen.
exhausted. And you're like, when did this happen?
And you're exhausted and resentful.
And you're mad. You feel like everybody owes you something
Yeah.
because where did all my energy go? And I was giving it out to everybody, and like, when is it coming back? Yeah, it gets interesting. So, overextending.
Love the topic because it's something that we speak about quite a lot.
Yes.
And I think when we were at Decorex, I was sort of thinking about it around the perspective of, do the people we overextend ourselves for ever feel like hoka? Like,
yeah.
because they will tell you,
Oh.
they will tell you when you raise your frustration
Yeah.
with the situation, they'll be like, I did not ask for that. But it's like, you were so happy
To receive.
Receiving it.
to, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted us to sort of tackle it from both perspectives
Yeah.
because ever since that conversation, I've been thinking about myself and like, has there been a situation where I could tell someone was overextending themselves and what was my reaction to it? Because it's very easy for us to speak about
Yeah.
like how much we give.
Yes.
Because we are givers. And I think that's why it makes
Yes.
sense that we have some form of a relationship.
Yeah.
But another part of the conversation we're going to introduce later is, have you ever been on the receiving end
Yeah.
of somebody who was overextending themselves? And what did you do to remedy that situation? So you can just keep that in your mind and then we'll loop back to it later. So I'm going to be Oprah today.
Yeah.
When it comes to the topic of overextending yourself, I think it's, as Gabi said, it's something that we grow up witnessing. Therefore, we model our behavior around that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see people overextending themselves, and other times you see a big gap and you feel the need to fill that gap. Because when that gap is felt within our family structures or even at school, it comes with a lot of tension and all these things that we struggle to deal with as people, especially as kids. It's like, okay, I know if my mom is super tired and anxious or frustrated, it's not going to be that great in the household. So let me just do all these other things that she would typically be frustrated about so that that situation does not come about. The question that I have for both of you ladies is, you might have not known the word itself or the concept itself, but when did you start realizing that you need to fill a gap, or there was a gap, or start modeling the behavior of someone who was overextending themselves within your life? Like, when can you recall that, oh, this is when the trouble started?
If I have to look back now that I'm actually doing the work also in therapy and stuff, a version of my overextension is how far I will go to suppress myself to make everybody else comfortable. Yes.
Wake it up.
And I think that one started very young, like 4, 5-ish, because there was a lot of movement happening in our lives. We were physically moving countries and stuff like that. And I was very upset about it. And everyone made it very clear that there's no time for these emotions, babe. You gotta pack it up. You gotta pack it up. And whenever those moving moments happened, it was reinforced. So whether it was when I was 4 or 5, crying every single day because my dad is not here, because he would always move first and then we would follow. Everyone was like, dude, this is really inconvenient for like going to school and whatever. Or when I'm 16 and they're like, we're moving again. And I'm like, no, you better don't try me with this, because I am cool and my friends are here and we're not doing that. And it's a huge kickoff and everyone made it clear, no emotion. So that clocking that and being like, oh, for me to help in this situation, I need to. That was the first one. But I think I also noticed very obviously that my mom does a lot of work, especially if you see her at like family gatherings and stuff like that. She's very busy, working all the time. And I almost admired that. I was like, wow, she's so helpful. It's so nice to be helpful, isn't it? But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I think she's exhausted. She's probably exhausted. That's too much.
So I have a question, if you don't mind me interjecting while you're sharing. It's like, do you think that you and your mom, it's not a commentary on like the nature of your relationship or where it is, but do you think that you would have had a better experience of like her parenting if she wasn't a person that always did so much?
It's so interesting. Maybe, but I think she really overextended so far, or she extended so far. I don't know if she just had that capacity. Like, I don't know if she would describe it as overextending, but for the most part growing up, I think we felt enough, you know, from her. Like, we weren't too stressed out and feeling too, you know, much of a lack. It's in looking back now that I'm like, there's a little bit missing here, there's a little bit missing there, and it added up at some point, you know. So I think our relationship, I can't even imagine it being, I can't imagine it being better. But I think the overextending does contribute, because a touchier point about it is my therapist and I have spoken about how really at the root of all of this is often patriarchy. And it feels like very often the energy of the women in our lives is going to the men in our lives. And so, and as the girl children, you get with the program and look after yourself and don't make yourself too big of a problem. Otherwise you're a big problem. You're another problem for mom to look after. It's not like she can.
And you must get so used to looking after yourself and looking after everyone so that you can look after these brothers and look after these fathers. Which is like insane. I was actually low-key saying it to my mom this past weekend. We were together on holiday, so we have time to chill and talk. And I'm like, hey, you guys, we talk so much about like how these people are a little bit inconvenient. And now I must pick one to
tag onto my life forever.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
No.
I'm just not sure. I'm thinking about it. I'm not saying no. I'm just not sure.
I think men are like people to have fun with and like not attach more than that to.
I'm realizing.
Like,
Especially for now.
nice to look at,
current
nice
climate.
to play with.
And let's
keep
play
around?
with each other honestly and nice, you know.
This is why I say I don't want a man in my house. I don't want a man in my house. And it just keeps getting stronger and stronger because I'm like, actually...
But also, Michelle, it's like the more you do without it, what do you need it for? What do you need it for?
What do I need it for? Honestly, that really,
If
truly
you're not
is the
here
case.
to be a nice person and good to be around,
Hello?
I'm not sure what we need here.
Get out of here.
Because, I don't know.
Do you want to answer my question, Michelle, or do you want me to add something?
I think for me, it's almost sort of similar. You know, I think growing up, I kind of read the room and I was like, oh, okay, like these people are inundated with some or the other thing, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's whatever it is. And I kind of just did the same thing, kind of just minimize myself almost completely. To the point of like, you know, hectic independence, you know, like to the point where my mom doesn't know how to emotionally support me, like when it comes to certain things like boys and whatnot. I think in part as well, it was also a thing of, you know, growing up, oh, you don't date. And then eventually they evolved. And then it's like, when you now want to talk about these things, I'm like, I don't
have a foundation.
I don't know you like that.
I don't know you like that.
Where
But,
do
you know,
we
I
start,
try
though?
because, I mean, what else can you do? And I think as well, just witnessing my mom sort of overextending herself, even, you know, where she was ill or wasn't 100% healthy. That was something that I was seeing. I was definitely seeing, I mean, being from the village, specifically, your value is weighed, you know, based on how much you can do. Especially if maybe you don't have a job or you don't have,
yes.
You have to do stuff.
Yes.
And I mean, I remember my mom like telling me when she had initially gotten married and how much she would do for like the household, because at the time she was living with the whole family, you know, in the compound. And my dad had like 6 other siblings, a lot, like maybe 4 or 5 of them were still quite young.
Oh my goodness.
And so my mom was taking care of them as well. And, you know, you wake up, you sweep, you boil water for everyone, you make, you know, to the point where when she was pregnant, she could hardly sleep. And she couldn't even turn on her own because she was in so much pain, you know, after spending the whole day laboring. To the point where my dad ended up being like, okay, that's it.
And
Stop.
you actually can't, you struggle with sleeping when you're pregnant anyway. So I can't imagine being pregnant and having to labor in any single way. Any single way. But I think it's so interesting, the perspectives that you guys are introducing, because from my perspective, both my parents overextenders, my grandmother overextender. So it's something that I just grew up witnessing and I was very anxious about being a problem. But then with what Gabi was saying in terms of looking back at your relationship, I remember my little sister Nikki having to call my gran out and be like, you actually don't know how to support Usinisipo, like emotionally. I was the kind of kid that like would not ask for financial assistance or anything of that nature. So where we are now in terms of our relationship, we both actively had to learn to like ask. I had to learn to ask for help from her and all of that because I didn't want to be a problem, right? But then it's weird how this thing of not wanting to be an additional issue leads to you trying to solve everyone's issues and trying to minus everyone's issues. Like, yes, it doesn't stop at you not wanting to be a problem. You like you want to solve everyone's problem. And then when Kabza was mentioning the thing about like when you look back at the relationship that you have with your parents or people in your life, and you realize that, oh my gosh, like maybe them exerting themselves in that way had a negative impact on my needs. Like that's where I am with my dad.
My dad as well. Oh, definitely.
Where I'm like, wow, like you really overextended yourself and continued to do so to a point where I'm neglected. And when I bring it up, you think because I've managed to be okay,
that it's okay.
And like that the lack is something that I'm imagining. And it's like such a weird concept because I'm like, I can imagine that your mom overextended herself too because he grew up in a household where there were so many people, had to start working at like the age of 14. You've been overextending
you've been
for years.
100%.
And you've been subjected to someone overextending, but there's like this block because of patriarchy as well from his perspective where it's like, you're the man in the house, you need to provide for everyone, you need to look after everyone, but it's like at what cost?
Yeah.
Child.
So it's a very
Hey, that
Dog.
one.
I mean, these people have to go talk to a person
and also be
themselves.
honest
And be honest when they go there.
when they go there.
because hey,
But
One
not a
thing
lot of
about
people.
it.
I'm realizing that not a lot of people want to do this.
No.
Not a lot of people are thinking about this.
No.
Like, why?
No.
Everything's okay, isn't it?
but it's like you're frustrated, you're blowing off your
frustrated.
gasket.
Exactly. And we're frustrated. We're tired.
Yeah.
Like, it's not normal to be constantly tired and like drained and
Yeah.
like,
Now that I feel it, I'm like, oh.
I'm like, wait, I'm 28. I can't do
Not
more.
normal,
I'm
yeah.
exhausted.
For me, it always goes back to the issues of the gut.
Yeah.
And the first time that I was like properly on probiotics, you know, like getting on the right meds, knowing what triggers your tummy and what doesn't. And I was like, oh, like life doesn't have to be like that. Like that discomfort is not normal.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a constant state of discomfort so much
Yes.
that we don't know that it's actually not healthy for us most times. And I think growing up as like young women in South Africa at a time like this, there's so much that's tied to being independent that it's very difficult to draw a line between independence and hyper independence as a result of these issues. So you ladies mentioned, like Misha, you mentioned you then became independent at a young age. And that obviously has an impact on how you form relationships and how you extend yourself as a person. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Child, Lord knows. Like, I think, for me, I got quite independent very fast. And then obviously well into your adulthood, that is definitely the case. And I think it's impacted me in that, and it's something we speak about very often, in that, you know, I'm kind of giving, sort of doing what I deem is sort of normal in a relationship sense, whether it's platonic, whether it's, you know, romantic. And then I'm like realizing, like, hold on, you aren't seeing me as a person that you need to fill gaps for. I think that truly is what woke me up to, like, hold on, like, why am I doing all of this if you don't see me as that person, you know? Oh, okay, people want you to give yourself, but aren't necessarily giving themselves to you. And I mean, I thought it was normal to do that. You know, the times when I found myself in relationships, for me, it was like, let me give, with the expectation, obviously, that the other person would do the same. And I mean, I think I've been lucky in friendships in that sense where I've had that, but I've also, you know, unfortunately, it's definitely put me in positions where, you know, I just wasn't seen how I would have liked to be seen. And also I'm like, I don't know why you want me to perform like need when
like extreme need.
Yeah, extreme need. And it's like, I can just tell you like, hey, this is maybe the case or whatever. But I think at the heart of all of that, the hyper independence, I think it just made me realize that I have no concept of my needs, or I have a very small concept of what my needs are, because for the longest time, it was just about suppressing my needs because I'm fine, you know, surely I'm okay. I'm doing well, I suppose. And, you know, maybe someone else who is a little bit more in need could do with that. But yeah, I think I'm glad for me, it kind of made me a bit of, like, you know what you were mentioning about you see a gap and you kind of want to fill it. I definitely was sort of that type of person. I'm the type of person, like, if there's a gap, I'll fill it. But I'm like, like I had to also step back with that to be like, okay, that can't be the only time when my leadership sticks out. You know, because they, especially when you think about like patriarchy and misogyny, it's something that's almost expected. Like you're sort of expected to be like the silent leader, and while the face,
Scanning for problems, where can I fix? Where can I get ahead of it? Where it's like,
and the face is like sort of there. You know, they get to be, you know, by themselves, and you know, whatever it is. But yeah, I think it definitely impacted me. You know, the independence and you know, sort of giving so much of myself. It's definitely made me more reclusive. As soon as I realized, I was like, oh,
thank you.
Folding right back into
taking
myself.
all my stuff.
Yeah, taking all my shit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Because what?
Yeah. I think I'm also there where I'm like, I got to a point of like constantly feeling frustrated that I'm giving. But the exercise was not to say, okay, guys, give it back.
Yeah.
You know, it was to say, what are you giving?
Yeah.
Why are you giving it? And if someone were to give you something in return, what would it be?
What would it be?
And I had no idea.
Exactly.
I had no idea. I was like, okay, I guess. And I think maybe the unhealthy expectation was like, well, I scan the room and read you and check you. Why aren't you scanning me? And it's like, well, because that's not normal, baby.
Yes.
We have to talk to each other.
We have to communicate these things.
I had to realize
you have to tell me what you need. I need to tell you what I need, because also half of the stuff that you were giving me, it was helpful, but didn't ask you for it, and that wasn't
that is
nice.
the
big one.
I didn't like thinking about that. That like, oh, I just imposed for my help.
That
didn't I?
is a big thing, because there is nothing that feels like a slap in the face more than realizing that this person actually did not ask me for any of this. So why?
Even if I felt like we were in a dire 911 situation, I have to triage us out of here. No, one
That's not what they
asked
for. Yeah, they just said, this is a problem.
Or you saw the problem.
Yes.
They didn't even see a problem.
They didn't see a problem.
They didn't see anything wrong with the situation. And you saw a problem and you swooped in and you helped out. Well, even help is like a big word. You swooped in, you dealt with the problem, and now you want a thank you. You want gratitude. And it's like, I didn't even know we had a problem.
I didn't even know what that's about.
And that always goes to when we speak about the amount of ego in like dealing with things and us needing to take enough time to stop and think, why do I want to help out here? Like, does it make me feel like a hero? Is it a matter of life and death? Is it a matter of creating necessary ease? Or should this person, is this a learning moment for this person? We don't take enough time to stop and ask those necessary questions because you're like, I need to swoop in. I don't want this person to feel. And then you sit there looking at people sideways because they're not giving you the thank you.
Yes.
You
listen.
Now you're spiteful and resentful and you're like in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And the world is going
too many
on.
times.
Oh yeah.
I feel like such a loser for saying this, but like,
definitely.
I've been there too many times because I've never, like, it's only in the last 2 or 3 years where I'm being very intentional about my giving. Because you just like own these narratives. Like, oh, I'm such a giver. I'm so generous. Like, I just love helping people out. And it's like, no, there's so much.
You will be tired.
You'll be tired, number one. But there's also so much ego and always like negative ego and always wanting to position yourself
as a savior,
this savior that's doing these thankless deeds.
And nobody's bringing it back to me. Wearing that.
Girl.
And everyone and their mom's going, but we didn't ask you.
You will literally just be left with an autoimmune disease, like some chronic illness from the amount of tired that you're going to experience. And I think for me, the first time that it was very clear was from a work perspective. So maternity leave, thank you. You saved my life. During maternity leave, I was having a lot of thoughts about these things because you're like, you don't feel like you're being productive because you're not doing anything that adds to your career. And if you start out young and you've got motion, you're moving,
pushing upwards.
Now I must take like 8 months off.
Like 8 months off. Maternity.
Need that without the maternity.
The baby.
Yeah.
I mean, the baby would be cool.
Yeah, the baby would be nice. Yeah, but for now.
Anyway.
During mat leave.
Yes, I was like, oh. And I came back a very different person in terms of how I worked.
Yeah.
Because before I was like, yeah, I must be productive, I must be super helpful, I must volunteer myself to this, must go above and beyond. I'm like, there's a way to do that without tiring yourself.
Yes.
Without like killing yourself.
100%.
And that's my MO. But getting to that point within family. Very tough. Very difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm in that process now, and it's a very tough process, but it's very necessary because it changes the nature of relationships.
Yeah.
Because we fall into these traps where, and I guess our parents fell into them and haven't done the necessary work to like, let me stop. Stop the bus. Let's reevaluate. Passenger Bani, are you sure you want to sit by the window with the emergency exit? Passenger Bani, okay, is so and so cool with being the driver?
Yes.
We hardly ever do that.
Yeah.
And when you do that, sometimes it introduces a level of friction.
Yeah.
So I think my next question is like, did you have relationships? Maybe we can introduce the concept of codependency first. And then sort of explore whether or not you've had a codependent relationship and if you've gone through the process of an intervention and how that went about.
Child,
I know I'll sit. I know the sit. I know what's coming.
So I did find myself in a codependent relationship. I didn't even realize it. That's
You
the worst
don't,
part.
yeah.
This is what I hate about.
But can we define it first?
So let me find a nice definition.
Oh, Gabs are over here
for
it.
Okay.
Thank you. We be chatting about it in therapy.
I want proper.
You want
But
clean.
it's such an interesting,
It's such an interesting concept because you don't realize it.
dynamic.
Right?
And it's so funny how I guess anyone on both players on either side of the dynamic can recrate the dynamic.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where I'm.
That's the beauty of a
Oh.
dynamic.
Oh,
when I was in therapy we were with a therapist last year, and
Yes.
she was like, "It's a dynamic because people are
They're feeding into it.
It's a die.
Yes.
Like you can't blame it on the one person.
Yes.
It's a dynamic.
That's where I was like,
whoa.
Listen,
damn, I was blaming everybody else.
But I also had a part to play.
I had a part
Yes,
to play,
I had a part to
100%.
play.
Yeah. So codependency via psychology today is a dysfunctional relationship dynamic in which one person assumes the role of the giver, sacrificing their own needs and well-being for the sake of the other, the taker. The bond in question is not necessarily romantic, though the term is often used to describe couples. The same dynamic can occur just as easily between parent and child, friends and family members. Guys, so I definitely have, found myself in that kind of situation where it was a friendship of many years. And I mean, you're just sort of going, we're friendshipping, all of these things. Up until my other best friend had, my other best friend, had actually come and said, listen, I was speaking to my psychologist about this friendship of ours and like,
something is off.
She's like, no, someone is creating a codependent situation.
Oh, so it was like a three-way codependent.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I was
You
like,
get threesomes, non-sexual threesomes.
We learn something every day.
Down.
And not fun ones. It's not a fun
This is not a fun threesome.
Fun
Not
one.
fun. And I mean, she had given quite recent examples, where I was like, oh, actually, that makes sense. Where it was like a case of, in this dynamic, this person, what we had realized, and I then took it into therapy as well because I was like, oh, okay, my first time hearing about this term, and like I wouldn't have defined it in that way. But I mean, just like a basic example that happened within that time was like she was not doing well mentally, and it had gone to a point where it's like, dude, you're not okay, like. It's evident you need to go get some help. And now here we are having to tell you to go to that clinic so that they can, literally my other best friend had to sign forms for her.
Yes.
This person has parents.
Yeah.
Active
parents that, she's always talking about they're active and all of that. But essentially what she had made me realize and what I'd realized through therapy was this person had created a sort of scenario where we're almost like mothering her. And I can tell you right now that pissed me off so much because I hadn't realized it up until like I was like looking back at all the different scenarios and I was like, this fucking bitch.
But also it's like you have me mothering you when I have my own mother wound.
That was the part that pissed me off the most. And I think in part of realizing that codependency was also realizing that this person plays on your traumas,
Vulnerabilities.
as well as your sort of, issues with your mom and all of that to sort of maintain that like codependency.
Yeah.
And when I clocked it, I was like, I'm going to K-word her. Like, I'm going to K-word her. Because if there's one thing I really never wanted was a scenario where I'm needed. I was very heavy on that, especially back then. Like, the only people I needing me are children.
Yeah.
The children of
Everybody
the world
else is big. You
and the
look after
children of
yourself.
myself. Everybody else.
But needing in a very specific way,
Yes,
right? Because I don't want people to
No. Like
misinterpret.
Like needing in a draining way.
Yeah, in a draining way. Needing in like, me being around validates whatever it is, or me fussing over her is what validates that sort of relationship. And so for me, that was my experience with codependency, where I was like, oh, I'm in a codependent relationship, and I was also feeding into it, unknowingly, obviously. I thought, this is a bond, this is how it's supposed to be. This is a friend, they maybe not having...
This is how I would want someone to show... Sorry.
Yeah, this is how I'd want someone to show up. This is how she wants us to show up. So like, okay, cool. Obviously there were times where I'd be like, listen, I'm not trying to do all of this. Like, because, there'd be then situations where it's like, when you kind of want to be like, yo, this is your life. Then this person is like, they act out. And that's when I realized like, oh, okay. Like the more I'm stepping back and I'm going, nigga, this is your life. Like I can't tell you what to do with yours. That's when I realized like, oh, this person really, really needs that. And so that made me fold into myself even more. I'm not going to lie to you. Because I was like, obviously I did my necessary assessments and I was like, no, the rest of my friendships aren't functioning that way. And the funny part was in that 3-way situation, my other best friend and I realized we don't do that. But she is sort of creative.
Where's she learning all this from?
No, like from the YouTubes. I realized like this person was studying all this shit and they were like building. And I was like, that's my experience with that. 10 out of 10 do not recommend.
No.
At all.
No.
Whatsoever.
It is the worst dynamic ever.
Listen,
I don't know if there's other dynamics that we can try out, but this one,
the worst.
None.
And literally I remember when we communicated to say we had an intervention, we're like, listen, this is actually what we've spotted and these are the ways in which it has showed up, and because we're transitioning over into a period where we're going to be staying together, we don't want to do that.
That was on the table.
Oh my gosh,
that was on the
you
table.
guys saw it before you moved in together.
Absolutely.
I thought it all happened after you moved in.
Literally months. I think it was like October, November, and we were like, this is what we spotted. This is what we don't want.
In a household that was going to be
in a household.
Did you guys
so
end up
you
living
told
together?
her?
Yeah, told her, like, listen, we don't want to do this. Like, and these are the ways in which you sort of do it. And these are the ways in which we sort of encourage it. And we don't actually want that. When we're living together, this is not going to fly at all whatsoever. We're very like frank about that, which I'm very glad we were. Because, when I didn't realize it, but I'm sure that day she decided, I'm gonna get these bitches.
Yeah, because she probably when you have that kind of dynamic, you guys bringing it up signals the beginning of neglect.
Yes, 100%.
So she's gonna act out and punish you guys because you want to neglect me.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable in this thing that we had set up.
Oh yes.
Now you want to switch up on me.
Yeah, that's literally that. And for I don't know how many months I saw my life. Where I was like, oh, this is the backlash from this person not wanting to,
But you also feel like you're going crazy when like you feel like somebody's punishing you.
Oh, fully.
Like you're like, am I imagining this? What's happening?
Why would an adult punish me, another adult?
I think for me, what helped was that if it was just me alone, we always say like, if it was just us alone, we wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, it would have been hard.
Because it would have been so hard because there's nobody to go, did you see that? Whereas at multiple points, and thank God for that, at multiple points when certain things would happen, I'd go, girl, did you see that? And she'd go, yeah. And I'd go, okay, I'm not going insane.
Yeah.
I'm not, because genuinely like that type of psychological warfare, I don't, it's changed me so much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've really recovered. I think I'm only starting to recover now.
It takes a lot, bro.
It takes so much. Like, that's why I'm like, after that, I folded deeply into myself because I was like, oh God.
A person who knows me and is supposed to see me saw me like that. Like they saw me as a person that I could put in this thing. And because my reading of the situation was different to what they were putting into it, I played a part. And then when I realized what's happening, I brought it up and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And they then punished me. And it took me so long to realize that I'm being punished. Enough to stand up and get myself out of the situation. It's like you're grieving yourself. You're grieving the fact that I'm not saying that you didn't.
Losing so much.
Yes, but also it feels like, why didn't I defend myself sooner? Why didn't I fight back sooner? Like, 100%. You're asking yourself these questions and you're also grieving the friendship and all of that. Like,
that one I was happy about. I won't even lie to you. I didn't grieve the friendship. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That one, I don't know.
You were
how
like,
to do
good
that.
riddance.
I don't know how to do
I'm
those
also
kind
very
of
bad
things.
at grieving friendships.
I'm really bad. Even
I'm
relationships that maybe I didn't like. If I'm like, actually, this person treated me like shit. I'm not gonna grieve the good part. I'm not going to lie to you.
Because also I'm like, you were thinking evil shit while we were having the good
while
parts.
we're having the good times.
I think that's when
You were up the whole time.
That's
So I was happy. I was like, oh, this person's out of my life. Thank God. But yeah, no, it was extremely scary. I was like,
And
okay,
you guys-
which is why I always say, and can the camera come this side? If she does see this, I see you. It's on site immediately. For you and everyone you know. I just want to, anyway, yes.
Love that. I think I guess I'll get to my experience of it, but just to tag on what you said about how it makes you feel about yourself, there's so much mental gymnastics you also do, because I think on the more anxious, overgivey side of this dynamic, you start to feel like, am I just such a, like, am I
a loser?
Do I think I'm better than everyone? Like, do I think I'm doing more?
There's actually
like
that part.
Like,
yes.
to even bring these things up sometimes when you're like, this is a dynamic that I don't want to continue. I want to bring it up, but it's like, so you think you do better than everybody.
You think you're doing more.
And it's like, I really kind of am.
Absolutely.
The conversation I had recently, and I was like, no, like objectively, I am doing the most.
I think I'm doing a lot. And I want to not do that anymore. I want us to get
And people
out
will
of
be like, that's not their perspective. What other perspective can there be?
I would like to
Listen.
show me the other side. Show me the other side, right?
Child.
But I think, for me, it has come up it's definitely present in a family life dynamic. But I think because I'm a little bit removed from that, living alone right now, I can almost like thug it out while I'm with them and then like
that makes a huge difference. Like physical presence makes a huge difference,
right? So that's one thing. It's come up more so in a way that I've had to talk about it and address it more and confront people more in a work setting. So working in the way that I work in advertising, the creative teams are very close, like you know, we call it enmeshed, if you will. We're just like always together, trying to figure things out and working long hours. It's like exhaustion coupled with this companionship that's very close. And I think
you guys are like finance dudes.
It's super high contact.
Extremely. Law dudes as well. Very, that's why they date.
I thought we were the only crazy.
No, the group work.
Whenever I talk about work things at home, or for the past couple of years when I talk about work things, they're like, do you guys are you always together like this? And I'm like, correct. Every day, day in, day out, we are together, right? So I guess it's breeding grounds for this kind of a dynamic. And I think it's been so hard because it comes up in like at some point you can't ignore it, right? Because the cost is so real. How can I say that? When you're overextending yourself at work, the energy cost is so real. You are literally burnt out. But at the same time, you almost can't stop it because of the needs of the industry. They're constantly going. So you almost are like, I'll deal with the dynamic. Or like, hey, this is just how it is. It's advertising. Everybody is working really hard. It's whatever.
And then your needs, in terms of like your professional, needs, outside of like your needs from a health perspective, like your professional aspirations and how they feel.
That's where I had to really take a step back and look, because I'm like, I definitely feel like I'm overextending in a way to protect the team, right? Another thing I think with advertising is that the overextending between the team is one thing, but the team is often overextending for the business, right? That's a lot of our studios are like understaffed and like, you know, we're working with more work than there is people a lot of the time. And then you also have really big aspirations to create amazing, huge campaigns that like take a lot of muscle. And yeah, so there's that, right? Where did this question start? Your needs. Yeah, so I had to look at it from my point of view, where I felt like in many partnerships, I felt like I'm overgiving. And then when you call the other person out, it's kind of like, well, why weren't you just focusing on your thing? And then you do look at your thing and it has suffered because you were sort of overgiving to protect the union in your mind. You were like, we need to show up well as a team, right? And so I'm overextending where I see a gap in parts of the process that are not really under my custodianship like that. But I thought I was helping everybody. But now I have made someone uncomfortable and I have neglected my own part.
Oh, guys. Oh.
Fuck. Ooh,
yeah.
You can. Yeah.
No, that work
you can
one,
say whatever here.
Like,
that work one, I relate hard to it.
And it's like literally, it's a matter of not life and death per se, but like burnout or no burnout to get this under control. And yeah, it's a very awkward one.
Yeah, no,
that is a
burnout almost killed me this year from work, where it was literally that case where, you know, in my case, you know, I work in a project environment.
Yeah.
So it's not like business as usual. You know, so we're working on budgets, yearly budgets, all these kind of things. And so like if we lose someone, like let's say someone resigns or someone retires, like we had that. This person retired, and then her entire role I literally took on top of mine that was already quite hectic. And on top of that, it was like, in this type of scenario, I'm doing all of this overextending, and I've been informed already that like there is not going to be a promotion coming.
There's no reward.
There's no reward coming for this.
Now that's interesting. Why would you say that? What?
Like,
why?
Because
sometimes I'll tell you up front.
Why is there no reward?
Because my manager's still there.
And the lady that left?
It's not my job.
Okay.
I'm just, you know, taking on a portion of it. And so because it was like, okay, there's a need for us to take on this role because there's nobody else, I was like, okay, fine, let's see. I mean, in my head, I was like, yeah, no, it's a great learning curve, which it was. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it was valuable in that sense. I now know what to do when it comes to creating correspondences for insurance.
Great.
I can do that. You know,
fantastic.
Great. But yeah, I mean, it came at a great cost where, you know, I definitely crashed. And I ended up crashing for 6 weeks. And I had to be off work for 6 weeks. I mean, it was a blessing in disguise in that my manager was then able to see like, oh, you're doing a lot of work. And I was like...
Which we still want you to get a promotion, so I won't say anything.
No, that's why I'm not trying to leave. We're paying for a new job. We're paying for a great job.
I can't believe a promotion's not on the table. At least
like
they'll tell you up front, my sister. They'll tell you up front. Yeah. I remember
because my manager wasn't going anywhere.
I remember doing the work of 2 people, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna hire soon. I know you're under so much pressure. We're gonna hire." And I'm like, "How's about you bump my cheese up?"
Let's start there. Let's start there.
How's about you give me more responsibility on paper?
Yeah, so we can
so that we can have a proper conversation about this. So like there's all these ways that these things will happen to you, and people will tell you up front, but you will still overextend yourself because you've told yourself this narrative about you. That I am Sinesipo and I'm a doer and I love to fill a gap and I love to help out and I hate to know the team is suffering.
And I love to learn.
And I love to learn. You see that curiosity?
That nonsense curiosity.
You will be the cat.
Hey, I saw.
You will be the cat.
You will be the cat.
Curiosity killed me there. Shame. I saw. I was like, oh, okay. I said, oh, okay, cool. All right. But yeah, for me, I want to talk about those people that say, but I didn't ask for this. That one, I'm very passionate. We were all very passionate about that. But that one, so
you hate me or what? What's up?
Yeah, they do hate you, number one.
Definitely.
Because I always go back to this thing, and my grand taught me this concept, but she still overextends herself because... I don't know, stories we tell us about ourselves and we stick to them, we don't change them. People will resent you for helping them because it always reminds them of their inadequacy. Like, especially with things that they can actually control, which is where we never stop and ask ourselves those 4 questions that I said before about why am I feeling this gap and what is this moment actually. So when you sweep in and help people out with things that they could have absolutely done for themselves, as much as they're like, okay, great, like so-and-so did it, whatever, if you are to remind them of that, which is why, like, there's always these narratives about don't remind people about how you help them out.
No.
Like, why were you doing
Some
it in
of
the
you
first
need
place?
reminding.
Why must I remind you? Why? You didn't say dankie.
At what point would I remind you?
That's why I'm reminding you.
Literally. Nobody's going to remind you out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Don't
I
accept help
understand.
from people because they will remind you. There's a specific kind of person who will be reminded about the help that they got. And that's usually a person who's ungrateful or is telling you that I actually didn't even need that anyway. And when you thought it was a moment where you needed to save their life. So I think there's a lot of resentment that you will experience for constantly helping people who don't show gratitude. But there's also a lot of resentment that you will experience, like that the person who's always getting help experiences for themselves and for you, because you're always exposing, like, inverted commas, how weak or inadequate they are. So there's that, number 1. Then number 2, I'm just also realizing the older I get, I'm like, there are people who are just entitled in the craziest ways.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it
Okay.
I'm not saying it in the way that, like, people weaponize the word, like, oh, you're so entitled, where it's like, no,
But plus,
you're
you know
my
what
parent.
that feels like when you're told that.
Literally, it's like, no, you're my parent and you brought me on this earth and you need to.
Kind of need to do
You
that.
kind of
I'm
like
supposed
have
to.
to
You
do
need
that.
to
You're
help
suppo-
me.
If there's anyone I should be entitled to, it's you.
Yes.
But there's a different kind of entitlement where people perceive you to have more and they're like, why aren't you sharing? Like, you should be sharing anyway, you've got more. And the more that you have, I should be the recipient and other people should not. And I should be able to dictate who should receive from you or who's worthy of receiving or what kind of giving actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we see that a lot within our families,
100%,
where people are like, oh, but you should be giving to me in this way and this way.
Yeah. My dad was
Or-
telling me about a cousin who was like, yeah, you should have taken me to school. I said,
Hello?
Yeah.
excuse me? I said, excuse me?
I was
when you have
telling-
2 parents.
I was telling Nikki and the girls group the other day, I had just remembered something. I don't know what we were talking about, but it's always about men being fucked up. Like, that's always on the
child,
agenda.
At this point.
always
Because
a
there's
line
like
item
always a
there.
new flavor.
always something.
What the
There's always a new flavor. Like, they will just surprise you.
Listen.
So I remembered an incident where, so my dad's just always overextended himself for his family. Whole weird enmeshment with his mom, and then this whole weird, like, provider thing for his sister.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's like, it's because he's a raging misogynist, but like, he just feels the need to do so much more for his nephews than
Child.
raw.
His own child.
than his own child.
Daughter.
But anyway, so I remember an incident where I was with my mom and my dad's sister was like, and my dad had taken her firstborn already to live with him here in Joburg and to go to like a good school and everything. And I remember he literally said to me, the township is not a good place for a child. That's why he took my cousin and left me in the township.
Oh. He's telling you this while you're in the township?
While I'm in the township.
Mind you, your grandmother who had to work the kitchens.
No, my grand didn't have to work the kitchens. My grand was like a businesswoman and everything. Like, she was hustling. But
the
not that
township
there's
is for
anything
you.
wrong with the kitchens. But I'm saying he literally was like, oh, you mean his mom?
Yeah.
No, it's a long story, but his mom didn't work the kitchens. But he literally was like, the township's not a good place for a kid, which is why he's actually taken all of his sister's kids out of the township. But anyway, I remember her. So my cousin is a few years older than me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she thought my family had an expectation that my dad was going to take me, because he took him when he was going to high school, that he was going to take me too. But I was in grade 7 and she was like, your kid's future is in my hands. Because she was the controller of the resources that my dad was sending.
Imagine.
Because there were times where I would literally like be sent to go get whatever he had sent, and I would get it it would be so much less than what he had said.
Course,
because
yeah.
they'd be like, yeah, bank charges or whatever. And the bank charges would be like $300. I'm like, what?
Classic
But
theft.
anyway,
Oh my God.
this is the kind of entitlement to
Yeah.
resources that I'm speaking about, that they were constantly reminding me. And this is not like from the person who's doing the overextending. It's from the
Yes.
recipients of his
Imagine.
overextending.
Like the middleman who's
Yes,
meant to
setting
be. Oh my God.
a boundary for me to say, this is how much you can actually get from this person.
I'm sure my
and he played into that
Would
dynamic.
have loved to do that. It will kill you there. We even tried that.
But he played into that dynamic, you know. So I'm like,
How so? Think because he was aware of.
he definitely was aware
Yeah,
of multiple
definitely.
situations, because his sister moved mad, man. She still moves mad. But he's always enabled that by providing for her.
Yes.
So for me, it's like you can't feed someone, like, you can't feed a beast and then act like you don't know why they're being a beast when you're giving them the energy.
But there's obviously also like a notable distance here between you and him now. Also, if like if he didn't know that this is happening, that's also a problem.
No, he
It's
knew.
Like,
He
so
knew.
he knew, and
No,
it's
he
just like,
knew,
you know what?
and-
We're just gonna let that play.
Yeah, he knew, and it's something that I've brought about multiple times. I think the dynamic also got a bit hazy when he actively took in one of the kids when they were younger,
Yes.
because then it's like she can use that against him, and she's done that multiple times to be like, oh, okay, you want to call me out? I'll take my kid. So there's that dynamic as well. But it's just like a crazy dynamic that when I tried to address multiple times, he just short circuits.
Comes tense, yeah.
Yeah, he short circuits because it's like he's been in that dynamic since he was 14 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for him to even think about changing that or even consider seeing what I'm saying, I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing, it's like, no. But it goes back to the entitlement that I was speaking about. And I think for me, that's the one dynamic where I just saw it very clearly that, oh, this is what overextension creates.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. In my mom's case, I saw that, you know, and I think growing up and getting older, I was like, oh. So remember I was telling you that, you know, some of my dad's siblings were quite young.
Yeah,
and, you know, she had helped them over the years and all of that. And one of her biggest gripes was like, I don't get tended to in the way that I would have expected because of how I tended to them.
Yes.
You know, like on some, you know what, you gave in this way, I'm going
want
to
to
give
give
in
to
this
you.
way. Which is
in a different way,
in a
like in a
different
way that I can.
In a way that
My
I
gran
can.
has that issue as well.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, with her family, you know, especially with her siblings' kids, they do that. You know, my cousins, you know, bless them, you know, they may not necessarily be able to buy stuff for her or whatever, but they really do try their best. They will like leave their homes with their husbands, bring their kids with, just so they can come help my mom with whatever it is. Even if we're just chilling.
But the dynamic will be different because your mom, much like to me, like to my dad's family, is an outsider that and is attached to the main breadwinner.
Yes.
So you're interrupting our son.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Like-
I'm
Or
like
our
that
access to
interruption.
those
Yeah,
resources,
so the access to the resources, there's this idea that there would be so much more if you didn't need to be tended to. So then you end up being rationed in a situation like my dad's where I think in his mind it was like, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to provide for my family.
Yes.
And it's like, that needs to come first. And this is the goal. And I'm going to build this legacy and all of this. And then the people on the other side, as they become adults or get older, they're like, we didn't ask you for any of this.
We did not
It's
ask
like,
for
okay,
any
now
of
you
that.
don't have the best relationship with your actual family, or you don't have a great relationship with your actual work, like what you were speaking about in terms of your responsibilities and what you're supposed to do. You didn't do it to your best because you were trying to, like, you had this bigger
Spread yourself
vision.
thin. Yes.
Like 300 like chickens. You know,
We're doing it.
Yeah. And then the other person's like, no. Like, no. And then you're left there like, oh.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done
Like,
anything.
what did I do all of that for?
Yeah. Literally that. Where I think I've had to sort of start telling her that, where it's like, listen, it is what it is in these kind of things. Sometimes people don't ask for these ways in which we overextend ourselves. And I can bet even if my dad were to be like, and I did this, they'd be like, well, you decided to do it on your
didn't
own.
ask you.
You're the one, you know, you became the family breadwinner early anyway. So like, I'm pretty sure of it.
You know, when the small, I've realized like you find small things where it's like, my grand's like a doer.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna do. People are moving slow.
catch up.
I'm not gonna
Yes.
go at your pace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're a bully.
You're controlling everything.
Yeah, you're controlling everybody. Like you're a bad listener. You don't.
And I hear you.
Those are
no,
the
you're right.
Those are the
sentiments
things.
of the things that I feel like I got in a work setting.
Yes.
And I was like,
Yes.
oh, what was your plan?
Yes.
What did you want to do?
Oof.
You didn't say anything.
You didn't stop. Okay, you didn't think to stop me at any moment in time when I was making all the decisions.
And that's also why I've actually, in reflecting again about like, I need this dynamic to stop in my life. I'm like, as much as these people, I think, over exaggerate how awful you are
Yeah.
in these moments, I do know that I'm not my nicest, calmest,
Why would you
best
be?
person when I am in these situations.
Why would you be?
I'm not cool. I don't like it. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Even though I will say, I think it is helpful for, just like your gran
Yeah.
was doing it for good reason. It is moving us forward and we actually
Yeah.
really need to go forward really
Yeah.
quickly. I don't know if you noticed,
Yeah,
but
like-
the world is on fire and we need to go, right? So it's helpful in that sense. But if people are just going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're making this all so uncomfortable and you're making this so
So what are you
horrible,
doing to make it easy?
It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to
Exactly.
stop.
Why can't you? Why
and I
can't you
will
provide
bully
that part?
myself here to get my things done, and that's it.
I think that's the part I want to discuss. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to create ease?
Yes.
What are you doing to create ease
Exactly.
in these moments where I am towering?
Yeah.
I'm this huge monster that's
taking
blowing
over.
fire. What are you doing to create ease? What are you doing to take away the amount of like charcoal that I
Yeah.
have that is going to add to
they
the
sit
fire?
back.
They sit back
and,
and
they
watch
act
and
like
watch
they
and
they have
watch.
no agency, because that's also another thing. Where with these people that talk about, oh no, but I didn't ask for it. You sit there, you act like you don't have agency. Then you turn around and say, well, I didn't ask. And that's part of the problem.
and
That's
you're
also
so
part of the
happy to
problem.
receive. Like you're so happy to just take within those moments, even when you can see that somebody is stretching themselves
Yeah.
so thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's
You're not going, whoa, dude.
how can I help you?
Yeah, how can I make this a bit easier for you? I know I'm on the receiving end of this, but
Yes.
like, how do I make this work for
Yeah.
us? Like,
And there's also like a bit of heartbreak for me that comes in where it seems like you don't know me at all. Then
Yeah.
right? It seems like for you to just latch on so quickly to the
Yeah.
mischaracterization that I am this
Yes.
bully and
Yes.
I am awful
Yes.
and whatever. It means for the times that I am
Yeah.
cool, calm, and collected, still
don't see
organizing,
me.
still
You don't see
doing.
it, yeah.
Because when you are this doer, right?
Yeah.
There are times where you're actually fine with this. Like, and you actually really, you just like when things are done, right?
Yeah.
But then obviously there are those high pressure situations where like it's overwhelming
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
you might speak to someone away or you might question someone away and they're uncomfortable with it, right?
yeah,
You want to paint me as that always,
Yeah.
and that's not true.
yeah,
I think it's
It's
a
not.
gotcha. It's a gotcha because I genuinely I know when I'm slacking.
yeah.
Like I know when I'm slacking. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I know when I'm slacking and
Yeah.
somebody's doing the most for me. I know it all too well.
Yeah.
And sometimes the guilt that I feel from that,
Yes.
the moment that person steps out, I'm like, yeah, they this and this.
Yeah. Oof.
And I don't think we want to admit that about ourselves as much because
Yeah.
you know when you've been slacking,
Yeah.
you know when somebody's been doing more
carrying
than
you a little,
Yes,
and
know.
you feel instead of saying, "Yo, dog, thanks
You
for stepping
had
up
me.
Yeah.
in this moment. How can I help more?" You're like, "Yeah, you weren't all that.
Yeah,
anyways.
like
You
yeah.
weren't all that, and you're actually
Just
making this harder than it
those-
needed
yeah,
to be."
rubbishing those efforts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow,
I think it always goes back to like our self-esteem
Yeah.
and like us needing to ask ourselves questions around how does getting help actually really make us feel? Especially in professional settings where
Yeah.
you are there because you can do.
Yes,
And there are times
and you must show
where,
that you can do.
Yes, there are times where life is happening and it's interrupting the doing.
Yeah.
But we want to be seen as these super professional people
Yeah.
who do not let what's happening to us emotionally or financially
Impact
or
our output.
impact our output.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pretend like I'm doing the D, like I'm doing the doing, but I'm actually really struggling, and I know that I'm not doing the doing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't know, man. Very few people are delusional about
Oh yeah.
their
I hope
outputs.
so.
Like,
Yeah.
no, we can lie to ourselves, but we can like pretend. But
Yeah.
when you're sitting, dog, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. But when
Yeah.
you're sitting
What
at
is it,
home
like,
and you're
but
sitting in
guys,
bed
some
at night,
people-
like there's that movie that plays.
Yeah. Yeah, some people don't have that movie.
You
at
really-
all.
You need
I've
that
been
movie.
realizing, like
You
my
need that
30s have
movie.
made me realize, Guys,
You need that CCTV.
some
roll.
people don't have that.
You have that moment?
Yeah,
Where
when you're just
I
like
definitely
thinking
do, yeah.
about
and you're like,
where you're at.
damn,
I don't think some
over the
people
last
do.
few months, yeah.
This is the way in
I have
which-
been absent
Yeah.
here at home, or I've been absent at work.
Yeah. I mean, I've even felt that there was a point where I was like, I think it was during my break where I was just like, I'd come here and I'm just like, I have no idea what
I don't know
what
what's
to talk
going on.
about.
I'm not here.
And Sniper would have to, at a point I was like, okay, no, hold up. Like, she's been doing this quite a bit. I need to
try something.
let me turn it on.
Yeah.
Let me turn it on
Yeah.
and just, do something. Because I was like, okay, now this person is coming every Thursday, sometimes, all the time, in fact, after a long day at work, just like me, like, yes, I'm going through things I'm going through and, all of that, but still, I had to sit and be like, okay, no, let me
Yeah.
turn it on.
So I'm going to this thing of like, you know you.
Yeah.
You know what you're capable of. You know you at your best.
Yes.
You know you at your worst.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of grace that you expect from others when you're like at your lowest.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of people that just don't put themselves in certain situations. I don't know if they've got good boundaries, but I don't think they have good boundaries, because if they had good boundaries, they wouldn't take as much as they do.
Exactly.
And they will have a lot to say
Yeah.
about people who give a lot, but they're always taking.
Nothing
Like they
to
will
say
call
about
you
how
all
much
those
they
things
take.
that like you're a bully, you're
Yes.
controlling, you're this, you're this, you're this,
You
you're
do
this.
too much for other people.
But it's like, do you ever put yourself in that situation where, even from a balanced perspective, you're actually like giving and you have a healthy boundary with like, or an equal relationship with the giving and the taking? Or do you just always have something to say about, oh yeah, but it's your fault? Like,
Yeah.
why because there's a narrative now, it's like, oh, all these people pleasers, but nobody's pleased. And
Mean.
And it's like, guys.
Mean.
no, but it's a thing that people are doing to console themselves.
Yes.
Me, I think, because the world, on
It's a
average,
cope.
the world is
It's
full
a cope.
of takers,
Yes.
and they know that they're takers. And the
Yeah.
more we have conversations like this, where we're awakening each other to what reciprocal healthy relationships actually look like,
Yeah.
the more they're under threat and they're in a
Yes.
corner. But it's
Yeah.
very difficult to admit that, oh, I'm actually a taker, and what can I do to change this? Because it's like, it's almost like a privilege to be a taker.
Yes, yeah.
So it's telling somebody to let go of their privilege and to start to learn how to survive without it. Like, that's a very frightening thing to have to do. So what do? We latch on to certain narratives that feed
People pleasing
our points
is
of comfort.
manipulative.
There was a weird TikTok that I was watching this morning, or the opening line was weird, but I guess
Yeah.
it's always like,
Yeah,
you need the
they
hook.
like to catch you.
Yeah, you need the hook. Where I think they were referencing an article or something that was written that was saying that like anxiously attached people are winning the PR.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I saw that,
And I
yeah.
was like, that's weird. And I listened to it and it had points or whatever. And I was like, you know what we actually have to realize is that nobody is winning in this
Anything.
situation.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we have ended up so far on either side of the
Yes.
spectrum. I don't know how many
Overcorrection.
people are sitting comfortably in the middle,
Very
but I
few.
think a lot of us are sitting so far on the fringes,
Yeah.
and we have to both step closer and closer and closer towards. But to your point, I think the anxiously attached person is more, I mean, this constant trying to talk is more up their alley, right? The anxious
yeah.
wants to talk and work things out or whatever, but might be more interested in that also because we are actually physically cannot do this anymore. However,
Yes.
the taker can drag this out a little bit
they
longer.
can. It serves
Oh,
them.
exactly. It's fine.
It serves
It's not
them.
that-
So
that's
the-
why it takes so long to get through to someone to say,
Yeah.
hey, I really need help.
It serves them,
I
friend.
really need help.
Because it's like, even that thing about, oh, I'm so tired of people are always having a bad day. Like, even the fact that you
you
are
know I have beef with
expressing
that.
your discomfort is now being suppressed.
Yes.
It's like this thing of, there are people who are very comfortable. They're not in the best of situations,
Yes, yeah.
but they are comfortable with the status quo.
Yes.
And the more you poke and poke
Yeah.
and
Yes,
poke and
they're
poke,
like, stop
no,
touching
stop.
me.
You're making them uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yes.
You make them
Stop.
extremely
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Because I'm okay here.
Yeah.
Like, everything is serving me to some degree.
and it cannot be like, for me, especially when it comes to that people pleaser thing, it cannot be that you are aware and you can see that you know that your friend is a people pleaser. You know that this person overextends themselves. And then you still turn around and say, yeah, no, people pleasers, they do all of that to be manipulative. Just say no. say, friend,
Say, no, you've
that
done
thing
enough.
that you want to do, it's okay.
Yes.
You've done enough.
No,
you don't need
thanks.
to do that. Don't worry. It doesn't change our relationship either. Why can't you put someone at ease in that sense?
Literally,
That's
to be
my
like, you don't
issue.
always have to be giving me.
Yes, yes.
And I think of a situation where when I had moved to Cape Town, new city, I'd left baby and my partner behind.
Yeah.
I was like, I had some friends, but I've been with my partner for so long that I'm so used to doing things with someone, right? And there were just things that like running errands, for instance.
Yes.
And I remember being with my cousin, like shout out Yanga, love him so much.
out.
Being with my cousin and realizing that, oh my gosh, like this person has been overextending themselves so much for me.
yeah.
To be there for me like almost every single weekend, to like do stuff with me.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a day where he was like frustrated because I'd asked him to go to the mall with me or something.
Yeah.
And I realized that, oh my gosh, he's just doing this because he doesn't, like, yes, loves me, everything, like no negative emotions
Yes.
towards me. But this person has their own life
Yes,
and there's stuff that they need to do. But they know that I'm like lonely in the city.
yeah.
But I can tell that they like frustrated.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't think I spoke to him about it, but I realized that, no, man, I need to ask of less.
Yes.
Like I need to ask of his, and it was physical presence.
Yes.
I was like, I need to ask for his physical presence way less than what I'm doing
currently asking
right
for.
now, because right now I'm asking for more than this person can actually give with ease.
But they want to.
But they want to,
Yeah.
and it's a way to show care, especially considering the context and the situation.
Yeah.
But I think for me, that was one of the first times where I was like, whoa, I am taking so much. Because sometimes you'll think, oh, okay, every time we're together, I'm paying the bill.
Yes.
I'm like,
Especially
I'm
it
getting him
offsets.
something nice.
Yeah.
So like, no, like he's having a good time. Like, but it's like, no, like there's something that this person is giving. And this high contact is not something that they can actually maintain or are comfortable with right now.
Yeah.
And me having to realize that, hey, like I'm taking here
Yeah.
was like, it just reconfigured my mind
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Did you feel guilty?
I did feel guilty, but I was like, I don't want to bring this up to him because I know he'd be the kind of person that would be like, no, that's like, it's not that. It's but I saw that frustration and I recognized it as a frustration that I've experienced before.
Sure.
And I think like when you see someone, it goes back to that thing we were saying, you can see yourself in the moment that they're having.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that there are people who are like objectively takers and people who are
Yes.
objectively
Yes.
givers. But because we don't see each other that as much as we could, we don't see each other in those moments as well. So that was the learning for me.
Guys, and having to be honest with yourself in that way, it's like, oh my word.
It's very tough.
It's really tough. Like, oh,
That's why a lot of
okay.
people don't do it.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Right? I think for me, the ways in which I've sort of tried to minimize that, unknowingly and knowingly was sort of the thing that started in childhood, where it's like I then become that person who doesn't have needs.
yes.
Or even if I do have needs, like I'm just dealing with them sort of on my own.
That's a topic on its own.
Listen,
Yeah.
like I'm dealing with it on my own. Like I remember I was famous for that. I was known for that. Like you go through stuff and then you tell us after. And I'm like,
Hey,
don't
people
bother
be saying
anyone with your needs.
that.
and I'm like, and I got called out for that. Like my friends were like, dude,
how can we help
how
you?
can
are you
we,
doing?
how can we help? Like, how can we be there in that sense? And even that, like, that made me a bit like, oh, because I mean, I don't want to think of myself as a giver and only a giver and whatnot. I definitely have taken where I had to be like, oh, okay, maybe this person is giving too much or like I'm asking too much, from this person. But even then it was, it's so tough sort of being able to really identify that when you're not, when you're not good at also saying, hey, I need this.
Yeah.
Or hey, can I have this?
Because it's so refreshing to have someone like just filling a gap for you.
Yeah.
And it's like you get lost in the euphoria of it that like, oh, this person is just
You're like,
doing
oh
the
my
way
God,
I
you
need
see me.
to.
You see me, you're helping.
Yeah.
You're so nice.
Oh, that's the danger.
That's the thing we were talking. When overextenders meet, and it's like, yes, we've got 120%.
And it's like, oh
now.
shit, we're both tired.
Yeah.
We're both tired.
And I'd rather have that. I'm not gonna lie.
I won't lie. I really love
I'd
that
rather have
too.
that. We'll figure it out in therapy or whatever. But
Yeah,
like,
it's a really nice. And I think it's never like and this is where I think it's kind of healthy. It's never that we're overextending at the same time, right? So I was talking about my sister, where it's like, I feel like that homie does for me what I do for her. And we
replenish each other.
We really try and go the extra mile for each other. And it'll be at different times. Like now I think she's overextending for me a lot, you know? Whereas other times I was overextending for her and just riding along with her to, to try to get things out. We just take turns. Matter when there's no turns, it's very confusing. It's very confusing.
So we're running out of time.
Yes.
I think it means we definitely need to have Gabi back for a part 2.
Please.
I love it here. I fucking love it here. It's so nice.
But thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you, yes.
Name is Gabi.
Yes.
Kabelo.
Yes.
You have an Instagram page where you have your really dope artwork.
Yes.
Oh, I
amazing.
do a black lady sketching _ in between every word.
Check her out.
please.
We'll add it in the description.
Buy some work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the things so that she can have the monies.
Okay.
And pay for the therapy and pay for the vacations because we need that.
Yes,
with
we need
all
that.
these things that we've been discussing.
Yes.
But thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Sisterhood of the Traveling Girl. My name is Sinesipo.
And I'm Misha. And shout out, guys. But we don't have a question for you guys this time. But next week
They can answer their own
Yeah,
things.
you can answer all our questions.
Tell us about your overextending.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.